The importance of failure and how damaging it is to people when you remove the possibility of failure. That's what I wish to discuss today. A lot of people like to use the government to create what they call safety nets. And these safety nets are all started with good intentions. I made a video called The Road to Hell Was Paved with Good Intentions. And that's pretty much one of those cases. You create a safety net. You become an enabler. What does an enabler do? You make it possible for somebody to do bad behavior and not suffer for it. And this is what those safety nets do. Now, why is it important to allow people to fail? Through failure, you can learn to improve your life if you learn from your failures. Sometimes the drug addict, the alcoholic, the adulterer have to hit rock bottom before they realize that they need to change. And rock bottom has to be hit, because otherwise, if you can make it so that they can thrive still, that they can have health care, and they can have housing, and they can have food and clothes and transportation and TV and whatever else you want to give them, you create a situation in which they can sit back and not change their behavior and stay at that level of suffering. All aid of the government should be designed with the idea of getting people off the aid. If there is a safety net, it has to be designed with the hopes of getting someone off the safety net, not permanently attaching them to the safety net. You attach too many people to those safety nets, it will drag the whole ship down. You have to allow failure. When you fail, it feels bad, right? I've failed before. You failed before. Everyone fails. And sometimes we fail catastrophically. Devastates our lives. You know, we light candles in our home, it burns the house down, and we didn't have insurance. That's a catastrophic failure. But guess what? You're not going to mess with candles anymore in the future, or you're going to be very picky on how you use them. You've learned an important lesson. You'll have fire extinguishers and fire alarms in your house next time. You'll buy insurance for your house next time. You've learned a lesson. The hard way, but you've learned it. Let's say you lose your job. You don't have a job. It doesn't matter why, but you don't. If the government makes it so that you can sit on the government dole earning unemployment for 4 years of your life, what incentive do you have to go back to work? You know? I mean, in the old days, before those kind of programs, what you would do is you'd get another job quickly, and you get a lower paying job if you had to, and continue looking for a better job while you worked at the lower paying job. And you would cut back on what you ate, and you would cut back on what you had, and you would scale down to the bare minimum. You would take in boarders. You do whatever you needed to stay up, and it made you energetic. The threat of complete collapse made you work harder, made you try harder. But now, you know, you lose your job, and then a lot of people think, well, gosh, I spent money on unemployment insurance, so I should get some unemployment. This is how I'm going to get my money back from the government. And that's not healthy. They tell you it takes about 90 days of doing something to create a habit. 3 years of unemployment? That's well beyond 90 days. How many people get comfortable sitting in their unemployment? Sitting happily collecting these checks. You have whole groups of people who wait for their welfare check to come in the mail. And they sit around all day long, doing nothing, goofing off, drinking, whatever. They have no ambition to change this. And that's all because government created a safety net that doesn't help them up. It keeps them down. It makes them dependents. Safety nets used improperly become drugs, and the politicians who install them are the drug pushers. Because when they install these safety nets, they basically tell the person that, oh gosh, well, just don't worry about it. We'll pay you. And if you want to keep getting this safety net, you better re-elect me, because that guy over there, that conservative over there, he's going to take your drugs away from you. He's going to take your safety net away from you. So you got to keep voting for me. Otherwise, the crack's gone, man. And you're going to be suffering all sorts of withdrawal symptoms, like having to go out and find a job doing for your own, and having to be active, and having to seek and be more desperately hungry for this job hunt. No. Now, the political left's counter to this position is typically, well, what if the person simply can't? Or if there's not simply no jobs? First off, if there's no jobs, you make jobs. How many poor people start off selling cookies? Famous Amos started off selling cookies. He was poor. He was broke. He started selling cookies. Now he has wealth. I think he's a millionaire, if I'm not wrong. Poverty can be an incentive for you to do great things. And yes, poverty can be really terrible. But it's all a matter of what level of comfort you have for it. What about the old or the people who can't do it? Well, the safety net's fine for them to a degree. But even then, it should not be a comfortable place to be. It should be designed like a prickly bed, designed to get them up in the morning, get them out. You know, elderly people can do many things. They're not incompetent. You know, they can serve in many ways in our communities and in our lives. They're active members of our society. You know, they're not incompetent. Anyways, that's my argument against, my argument for failure and the importance of failure, and against excessive, improperly done safety nets. Thank you very much, and have yourself a good day, and God bless.